Hi guys, let's work through some of your homework problems in case you had some questions with those. In the first one it says, what is 1/8 of 72? And a couple things I want to point out. So what is obviously a question, like a variable that we're going to be using when we start to do more algebra, but we'll just write a question mark. The word is always the same as equals. So what is 1/8? And the word of always means times. However you want to write times, dot or parentheses or an X. And so we're going to say 1/8 times 72. We know that 72 can be 72 over 1. When we multiply fractions, we multiply the tops and we multiply the bottoms, but we can also cancel common factors. So I know that 8 times 9 is 72, and so I could cancel this 8, and 8 times 9 is 72. So I've taken an 8 out of both of those, and so I would either end up with 9 over 1, which is 9, or if I didn't cancel in the first place, I might have 72, 1 times 72 is 72, over 8 times 1 is 8. And 72 divided by 8, all fractions are division problems. And 72 divided by 8 is 9. And so I would get the same answer either way. Number 2 has 7/8 times 72, which is a very similar problem, except that we don't have to deal with the words. And so what I'm going to do is 7/8 times, that's another way of writing the X, 72 over 1. And so again, I can cancel or I can just multiply. It's much easier to cancel if you're not using a calculator. I know that 8 times 9, again, is 72, and so I could cancel that. And then I'm just going to do this. 7 times 9 is 63. There's a 1 on the bottom, but I don't really need that, so that'd be 63. If I didn't do that, I would have to do this math. 7 times 72, and then 8 times 1 on the bottom. And so I'd have to do the 7 times 72, and then I would end up with a number, and I would have to divide it by 8. So you can see that that's a little more intense math if you're not using a calculator. The answer to this is 63. Number 3 is the same kind of idea again. Oops. 4 times, we're going to put the 4 over 1 since we're doing fractions, times 5 over 14. And this time I can see that 4 and 14 are both even numbers. And so 4 doesn't go into 14, but 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 goes into 14 7 times. 2 times 7 is 14. And so now I am doing 2 times 5 is 10 on the top, and 1 times 7 is 7 on the bottom. And it says to write our answer as a fraction in simplest form. Simplest form just means it's reduced. It doesn't mean that I have to make it into a mixed number. That's a lot of extra trouble that we don't need to go to most of the time. So I am going to just enter this as 10 over 7. Okay. Number 4 says that Gina watered 3 plants. Every plant got 5/9 gallons of water. How much water did she use in all? So we know that we need to do 5/9 for the first plant, and 5/9 for the second plant, and 5/9 for the third plant. So actually we're multiplying times 3. 3 times 5/9, right? Which is, we could go to the trouble to add this. It wouldn't be a big deal, but we can also multiply. I can see that I can cancel 3's. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. And by the way, if these things are hanging you up, keep working on your quick tables. 1 times 5 on the top is 5, and 1 times 3 on the bottom is 3. Just to show you, if I had done this math, I would have 5 plus 5 plus 5, which is 15 on the top, because remember, we would do all of this all over 9, and then I need to reduce. 3 goes into 15 5 times, and 3 goes into 9 3 times, and we would get that same 5/3. Multiplication is just a way of shortcutting our addition. So our answer is 5/3 5/3, 5/3 gallons, which we can see is 1 2/3 gallons if we made it into a mixed number, which is probably unnecessary in this case. Okay. Number 5 has some multiplication for us to practice. A lot of these are just practicing the same thing. 7/8 times 5/9, and I don't see anything in common here, top to bottom. So no common factors to take out. So we're just going to do this multiplication. And if I'm right that there are no common factors, I won't even need to simplify it. 7 times 5 on the top is 35, and 8 times 9 on the bottom is 72. And so if I'm correct, 35 72s. 35 over 72. Check. And that'll be fine. Number 6. Again, we're just multiplying, practicing. 4/5 times 10 over 7. And are there any common factors? Yes, there are. So I can see that 5 goes into 10. 5 times 2 is 10. And anytime I can cancel top to bottom or crosswise, but I can't cancel like the 4 and the 2. They're both on the top. They won't be canceling. You can only cancel top to bottom. And the reason is because we could write this as 4 times 10 over 5 times 7. And so see how this becomes 40 over 35, and I would be canceling a common 5 to simplify this, right? 40 divided by 5 is 8, and 35 divided by 5 is 7. So it's likely what we're going to get down here unless we're wrong. And that's why this works and why I can't cancel numbers across the top or across the bottom. Okay, 4 times 2 here is 8, and 1 times 7 is 7, and 8/7 is our answer. Oops. Number 7. Okay, we have 3 fractions. It's going to work the same way. And we can cancel top to bottom with any of these because this is really 2 times 1 times 3 all over 3 times 11 times 5. You don't have to write it like that. I just want you to know that realistically, this is what we're doing. So we're looking for common factors. There's a 3 and a 3. Those will both cancel and make 1s. And I don't see anything else that matches up. So 2 times 1 is 2. And 1 times 11 times 5 is 55. So we have 2 55ths. Number 8, we're going to throw in some negatives. So I know that negative times a negative equals a positive. So my end answer is going to be positive. I don't even have to really worry about the negatives anymore. 2 negatives, if I have a whole string of them, an even number of negatives always becomes positive, and this is 2 of them. So I'm going to do this math 5/2 times 6 over 1. And I can see some common factors. There's a 2 here. 2 goes into 6 3 times. And I have 5 times 3 on the top and 1 times 1 on the bottom. So we don't ever keep that over 1. We just write the number 15. And remember, I did negative times negative, which made positive. That's why I didn't end up with any negatives in my end answer. Last year, 240 new houses were built in a neighborhood. So far this year, 5/6 of them have been sold. How many new houses have been sold this year? So sometimes in my mind, as I'm figuring out word problems, I say things like this. I want to know 5/6 of the 240, right? And remember that of means times. So keep asking yourself, what do I want to know? What is really happening here? I'm going to put this number over 1, and I can see some common factor going on here. I know 6 goes into 24, so 6 will go into 240. 6 times 4 is 24, and I just keep that 0. So I don't have any more things to cancel because I only have 1s on the bottom. 5 times 40 is the same as 5 times 4, which is 20, and then stick that 0 on the end. And then over 1. So the end answer is going to be 200. And of course, I want to ask myself if this answer makes sense. It's a word problem. So does it make sense that 5/6 of 240 is 200? Because 5/6 would mean that's really most of them. If I divided 240 into 6 pieces, each piece would be 40, right? I would have 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. And so if I have 5 of those 40s, then I'm going to have 200. So my answer does make sense. All right. Reciprocals just mean to turn a fraction upside down. It's really super easy if it's already a fraction. So like the reciprocal of 5/6 is just going to be 6 over 5. We just turn it over. But any whole number can be a fraction, right? We just put it over a 1. And so then the reciprocal is going to be 1 over 13. So I'm just going to be writing those in here. 1 over 13. And 6 over 5. So reciprocal means turn it upside down.